And there we go. The race is off, and Uncle says to us that the chest is a secret to everybody. So now the question is it actually a secret to everybody at 300 rupees, or no, just a piece of art?
A little bit of love for everyone. Oh, very
That
early
is
map check.
early map check. We've got 3 crystals in the light world, with Taravera being one of our 5 and 6 crystals. Those being, of course, the ones that you need to unlock the big bomb at the bomb shop to get to the Pyramid Ferry.
It's also a little scary to see so many crystals in the light world because you have some pendant dungeons in the dark world that could take a lot of time to complete. But there we go. We got that
Hey, we
King
were
of
talking
Samaria
about
that we're
this.
looking for.
There we go. Yeah, that'll be fun to watch. I'm just getting some. Andy already got some kills out of the way. Yeah, as is Hugh. Looks like it's a very good idea to do this, actually, considering you have those 2 magic pots right there.
And he's showing off really good Samaria strats already, just with how he lined up the blocks and just instantly killing the enemies, not taking any time on that. Whereas you see Hugh on the right, took a little bit longer, so definitely you can tell Andy's refined, just how to get through the escape using that cane.
You can also see Andy moving a little bit off to the side here and there while he's walking up. There's actually a little frame-saving technique called pumping that he's employing there. Like, Link's movements up and to the left actually start off with 2 pixels and then do a 1 pixel movement after. But if you cancel that away diagonal, you can speed up your movements very, very slightly. Not something you see employed too often in the rando community, but it can save you a little bit of time over the course of a run, especially if Seed is very greedy on his boots.
Yeah, and it's most notable when you go up a ladder like we do on Death Mountain or over to Eastern. You can see that you're moving a lot faster than you should be. But yeah, it's definitely a technique that Andy would be familiar with given his NMG experience. And there we go, we got a bomb drop.
Yeah, well, Hugh hasn't got the fortune. It must have been just somewhere in the Green Guards price pack. The book. Might be seeing a Cane of Mario Landmo at this rate.
I wonder how that will affect that early game routing, especially if maybe if they get the gloves and lamp before heading down the South Shore. Like, will they decide to maybe go over to Desert kind of early on, or just wait until later?
Yeah, I was expected the birds just opting to go with the pots for killing the big key guard here. It's technically a easy team's a bit quicker to just do it with the Cane of Samaria, I believe, but it's annoying to do, so you might as well do this.
True, and Hugh also gets his Green Guard bomb as well, so both runners at this point are just going to be trying to rush to the end as fast as possible.
It's good to see them both getting the bomb at the same time. It's always unfortunate when a race gets very much decided by somebody getting a bomb and escape and the other person not getting it and being really inconvenienced by it for some reason. Just making our way back out into the dark section of escape where you often can farm some bombs. So I'm wondering whether runners are going to bother with it at this point, because they've got a good amount of rupees from the 300 rupee drop they got in the Uncle section of the escape anyway. And by the time they need more bombs, they could have just bought them, basically.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if they do farm that one spot. I mean, even just to, guarantee that you have bombs for Blind's Hut and the well without having to run down and buy them, which would be a little bit of time save. But that's the best part about watching these races, just being able to see the different small decisions that these runners make to, affect how they're going to play later on.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the upcoming hallway here is a spot that often gets farmed because there's a whole bunch of this rogues in here. You can see Andy kill a couple of them though. It's mostly because they were in his way. Just
Well,
10
not
bombs.
exactly. Yeah, not exactly the bombs we're looking for. It's nice to carry 20 bombs, but
Yeah, I
gotta
definitely
have 20
don't
bombs.
mind getting at least one bomb capacity upgrade over the course of a run, just because it's 10 bombs is just a little awkward if the enemies aren't particularly particularly good at fighting you with bombs.
Very nice sync we have going on here.
Yeah, it's been going back and forth a little bit during the escape section, which is a pretty good sign for this actually being a pretty good race.
So even more bomb capacity upgrades. So a little bit unfortunate to see it so early when you actually just want to see that, 3 or 10 bomb drop.
Also got the Serenade of the Book going on. Gotta love that error noise.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't really expect a pug to be able to read, so I'm not too surprised. Final sync chest. Wow, okay, there we go. We get the 3 bombs in there, so that'll be convenient for our runners.
That is that's very convenient actually. It's going to make it really easy to just route here into Eastern Palace. And then we have Andy's map check. We already saw that earlier on the U side. And here we also have an opportunity for a split up, which is actually happening, it looks like. Or maybe Andy's just... No, he's definitely heading up just directly to the last of us, while you is probably going to check the Lumberjack Cave and check the street food along the way.
Yeah, it's always a choice of whether or not you want to check this lumberjack cave early on. It could definitely affect your routing if you know that Agnum is required early on. But some runners will opt to not check it, but rather just kind of look at what items they get early on to determine if Agnum is required. And we saw there,
Well,
there was just a few bombs. And Andy ignoring that early bomb drop, or sorry, that heart container
yeah,
right there.
I'm kind of surprised he's skipping that. Even for somebody of his skill level, just taking a second there to pick up that heart is often worth it, just because you do end up taking damage, regardless of how good you are at this game. But I guess he figures the couple seconds time save by not being stuck into the pickup animation is worth it.
Yeah, well, Andy, we all know, is very experienced in this game, so maybe he's thinking, I'll just get these heart containers off these chests that I have to pick up.
My and you is actually going to give the chat what they often want. We're getting a very early pedestal check. And we found a hammer in Blindside. And a cave. Let's see, what is it? It's a sword. That's basically vanilla. That's good, Kevin. That is a very definite maybe on whether the pedestal is of interest or not. It all depends on where the rest of the swords are.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
despite knowing exactly what's on the pedestal, we have no clue if it's going to be required or not.
It'd be really dependent on, is there going to be progression on one of the tablets possibly? And are the rest of the swords going to be locked behind in Gannett's Tower? But in the meantime, we find that moon pearl in the well, so only one item away from that dark world access.
Ooh, second shield already too for Andy. Getting a lot of shields so early is an interesting thing. Because the only thing by logic that explicitly requires shields is the laser bridge on Turtle Rock, so finding a lot of shields early can be a sign that there's something big hiding down there. Or it could just be a coincidence, you never know.
So I'm really thinking with that sword being on the pedestal, most likely we're not going to see an Agnum C despite having that cape already.
It is significantly less likely with one of the swords already being in a known out-of-the-way location that we know requires Dark World access.
So just about to finish up with our Kakariko check. Just have the library and the race game to finish up. Good amount of items though, between the Moon Pearl, Hammer, and I guess the cape as well to some extent. I did not see what was on the library right there.
There wasn't anything important, I can tell you that much.
Oh, important to runners or important to Andy? Because we already saw him skip that heart container.
I think it's not going to be important to either of our runners. I don't exactly remember what it was. I just know it wasn't the shape of something very important. It was apparently a piece of art, so it's not that interesting to begin with.
Oh, okay. All right.
Like, I don't think anyone is going to get back for that one.
Probably not.
Let's see what is the dam hiding for us today. Yes, the red rupee. Let's see what the drained lake holds for us. Could be something big.
Or it could just be 5 arrow capacity.
Well, we're getting to a location that often holds a bunch of items right now. Well, it holds 5 of them, so it's pretty likely to begin with, but everybody loves minimal bomb cave.
Right, and this is kind of that point in the early seed at least, where you kind of begin to determine, what's your next step. Everything up until here is just something everyone's going to do. It's Kakari, go to the South Shore. But we could see some divergence after this.
Yeah, but they're just 2 locations that you're just gonna end up doing because they contain so many more items than a lot of other places in the overworld, so it'd be crazy to skip them. That's a pothole.
Finding that bottle kind of a little bit later than you want to be able to see that, because you never know if Sikid will have something available that's needed to get a little bit further.
And it does look like Andy is just going to continue on to the Ice Rod Cave while he's in here. Or down here, I should say.
We could also possibly see that fake clippers up to Zora. I mean, we do have the Moon Pearl plus over 500 rupees. Be a good idea to just knock that out right now.
Yeah, it's certainly an attractive option. Otherwise, I think, outside of checking Sick Kit, of course, with the bottle that he just got, I think the only other option we have is actually checking Sazerad in the eastern area.
We do have access, though, to the Desert Palace as well.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's definitely true.
It looks like Andy's going to opt to not fake clippers, probably thinking, I don't have the gloves, so technically Zora's not in logic just yet. But rather, yeah, there he goes. Over to Desert Palace.
Yeah, we might be seeing a little bit of divergence in a little bit, because it doesn't look like you is also going to be checking Ice Rod Cave, but he might choose to prioritize Eastern Palace instead of Desert Palace, so that might end up being interesting for a race here.
Yeah, early on, it's better to kind of look at, these world dungeons, more so as just item locations as opposed to, required crystals, because, often, the sphere, I guess sphere 2 locations do have something needed to beat the seed, even if you can't actually beat the dungeon, at that point.
But first, we're getting an Agatha's Cave.
Oh, fetch quest number 2. It'll be nice to pair that with the Sick Kid.
Be even nice to pair it with Darkworld Visit and the Mirror, but that might be asking a little bit too much. Yeah, that might be asking a little bit too much.
There's that divergence you're talking about. Imhughbliss going to head over to probably a little bit more item dense area over at the Sahashala and Eastern Palace.
Yeah, there's definitely arguments to be made for both things. Like, a lot of people would say that if you find an early book, you should just go straight to desert just because it's a very clear sign. But again, it's rando. The book could just be there just to be there, you know. It doesn't actually matter. It might not actually matter. The randomizer is weird and complicated, but mostly it's random.
Alright, so nothing in Sahasrara's hut, just some money and another heart container. But we still have plenty of items left in Eastern Palace, and we do find that Desert Palace is boots locked with that big key on the torch.
Yeah, on the other side of things, I'm pretty certain Andy is at least thrilled about learning that the boots are going to be out there somewhere before he has to go to Ganon's Tower.
So you're saying probably going to see some hovering at some point from Andy.
Yeah, probably. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't. It's basically his thing.
So definitely nice to get that knowledge that you do need the boots to finish Desert Palace as opposed to finding that out later. But fortunately, right now, not much or anything really given to kind of help progress the seed more. But we're going to get that shovel check right now, probably into Sick Kid as well.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if it doesn't do both of those.
Andy definitely following the logic very, or at least trying to follow these as breadcrumbs pretty tightly as opposed to doing your normal, early game checks, which could pay off really big. He skips the other heart container. Andy, please.
I mean, at this point, unlike the earlier one, he already is up to 7 hearts, so I can't blame him anymore now. Now it's just sensible time saving for somebody confident enough in his skills.
You pretty much like a little over halfway done with Eastern Palace. I'm pretty sure we'll see him do that dark room as well, since he does have the hammer to kind of figure out where your position is. I don't think we've seen anything from his end just yet. Until now, we got those power gloves.
Yep, that's interesting, and it's a Dark Lord access right there.
Unfortunately, bottle and shovel not leading to anything, and I believe that's 3 items we do have.
That was definitely item number 3 already, so that's very friendly Eastern Palace when it comes to finding items. And looking at where he started, I think he is off to Hype Cave as this first check.
Oh, 100%. If you can get to Hype Cave very early on, want to be able to do that. Just so many items in there.
Well, nah, he was thinking of going to Desert for a little bit there, I think, but then he realized that he has Dark Lord access and I'd rather prioritize that.
Right. Definitely a good idea if you don't have that fire access, or even boots too. But let's look at these pendants. So we got green pendant on Pod, red and blue Ice Palace, and Turtle Rock.
And I believe the other red crystal was on Misery Maya. We've got the east side of the Dark World, all with pendants. What a fun little coincidence. Normally I'd start speculating at what's on the pedestal at this point, but we already know that's a sword upgrade.
Right. Well, we find our first item of the hash, the mushroom, as well as a significantly more popular item, the Titan's Mitts, too. What a perfect location.
That is an excellent. Yeah, that's an excellent location to find if you decide to start here, because now you can just route to the west of it and then just go straight up to the village of Outcasts without having to bother saving and quitting.
So Hugh definitely playing the early game a tad bit better than Andy. Andy's still, just barely on his heels once he finds those gloves, but definitely we're going to be looking to Hugh's side to kind of get an idea of, oh, there's our first sword.
That's sword number 1.
So we know one sword on Stumpy, another sword on Pedestal, and it's just going to come down to are those two other swords? Are they locked in Ganon's tower, or are they going to be on the overworld somewhere?
Yeah, that's going to be the question, but we might be with this fight as well for a very long time, because if there's one thing I notice, it's not too uncommon to have like two swords out in the world, except for GT, and then the final two swords locked behind GT in some form of fashion. And in this particular case, that would mean, well, you'd be stuck with the fight the sword all the way until Ganon's tower.
Definitely having that hammer will alleviate some of those concerns of not having enough damage for some of these bosses.
We are at least safe from potentially the inconvenience of having to do Ice Palace, or Cold Star in particular, with the fight the sword.
Definitely one of my least favorite boss fights. Next to Trinex, which is also a pendant as well, so kind of lucked out here if that ends up being the case.
Yeah, the only thing that really missing from the bosses you'd rather not do with the fight the sword trifecta is the fact that you have to actually do Swamp Palace for a crystal.
Here we go, Andy actually opting not to go right into the Dark World, but rather going over to set up a fake flip versus Zora, probably thinking, I got the glove now, so Zora is in logic, so things I need to at least get a little bit further in the seed might be up there.
Yeah, I think he's just a big fan of trying to clear as much of the light world as possible before diving into the Dark World.
Meanwhile, he should be probably entering Thieves Town right about now. Yeah, got everything you need to complete it. You got a sword for blind, doesn't matter what level it is. This will be a pretty simple clear for him. Andy getting that piece apart. Unfortunately, can't skip that one.
Yeah. Just 20 rupees so far into his town. And some bombs now.
Alright, just the 50 rupees on the Lake Hylia island, so don't have to worry about that later. But here we're going to have a bunch of items coming up with that waterfall ferry, as well as Zora and the Zora ledge.
Okay, just a piece of health. I think that's 3 items already in Thieves Town, so this one should be the big key.
Alright, pretty stacked early Thieves Town. Usually you have to go pretty deep in to find most of the items.
Yeah, sadly the items themselves weren't much to write home about, but well, it's better to have them out of the way now, really.
With the mitts showing up too. Okay, and there's just that red rupee on the Zora ledge. But yeah, with the bits showing up as early as they did, there's a lot of locations available currently in the Dark World that could have items there, so I'm not too surprised that we're not finding anything just yet here in Thieves Town. We did get the superior boomerang for traveling up to Zora, which, although it's nice, not really going to be necessary for completing the seed. And Andy, it looks like, okay, I thought he was actually going to continue on with the sequence breaking and go up the Death Mountain, but looks like he's going to head over to Dark World. Ceiling being opened up in Thieves Town, while Andy entering his Dark World, also through Hype Cave, gonna find his mitts very shortly. Unfortunately, he has all those early game locations kind of marked off, but we don't know just yet if Imhughbliss will have to actually go to any of those locations depending on how the seed item layout turns out to be.
I was actually rather impressed by you. Like, he accidentally left the room before the ceiling itself was blown open, but actually noticed it instead of clearing the dungeon first, so good on him.
Yeah, that could be a little bit awkward, especially if you're doing it like no major glitches where you just literally leave the room right as it blows up. So good job on him. There's our final item from Thieves Town. Just a whole bunch of money and pieces of hearts.
Yep, we can't even check the big chest even if we wanted to, because it appears to be containing the small key you'd require to access it. It's always nice when that happens. It's a teeny little bit of time save, because you don't have to bother picking up that block again or walking up the conveyor belt in the room to the left of town.
Very true. And he's going to be entering into his blind fight with only 6 hearts. So I imagine he could probably do this pretty easily. Also with the cape to help him out should he need it. Already gets that clean phase 1 fight. Yeah, this is going to be a very simple fight for himself.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job dodging, and I believe the fire shield is covering for a couple fireballs here and there too. And there's a first crystal at the 26-minute mark for you.
So at this point, they do have quite a few options. Technically, lamp or flute are locking access to Death Mountain, but you definitely still get up there. Have the cape for the bumper cave coming up that he was probably going to right now.
Well, Andy is actually checking the Hammerpack cave, which I don't think we saw before.
Yeah, we didn't see Hugh do that. Maybe he's looking to route that in with doing the blacksmith at the same time.
And there's a third shield already.
So Andy opting to pick up the mirror shield, but skipping all those heart containers. Kind of curious on the logic on that.
I mean, if he's expecting to have to do the laser bridge, it's actually a pretty big... it's actually really handy to just have the shield and make it incredibly easy to do without the boots, but it's definitely an interesting decision considering what he skipped before.
Yeah.
So I know for a fact that he can do laser skips with or without boots without any issue.
So that definitely, finding the shield there, whether or not you pick it up, does, kind of suggest that maybe there is something on Laser Bridge. We already have Cana Samaria. Technically just need to find the fire rod, and that is, and I guess the medallion as well.
Yeah, and still, it's interesting how early the shields were in this particular suit. On the other hand, we've also had the cape for a while, and that's also considered enough for the laser bridge, so... Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
To head into the back of, or at least, I guess, the midway point of Skullwoods. Can't yet go to the back yet, because he doesn't have that fire rod. But it is a good idea to just route these locations in, instead of putting it off later in case it does have something you need. Which could be something, the big key.
It's a vanilla big key. We're still looking for at least one item here in Skullwoods, and, well, it's continuing to be vanilla, and then we might find the fire rod here and then be able to clear the dungeon. Who knows? Anything can happen.
So after this, we do have a few locations that you can go to, including the Desert Palace, since he hasn't gone over that area just yet. But unfortunately, Skullwood's not going to have anything. He's actually going to skip checking the bumper cave. I don't know if maybe that was just an error, because that would have been a great time to go ahead and run over there.
Yeah, I imagine he's going to check up on some of those other locations we've seen skip before now. Looking at what he's doing, I think he's making his way over to Dead Mountain. We actually can't do all that much just yet.
Yeah, until we find their mirror.
Yeah, we can check the old man and check Spectacle Rock Cave, but that's about it really. Oh, we can do Spike Cave, of course.
So it's a very easy dark room to go through, fortunately, especially with the sword to kind of guide your way through.
Yeah, but you can, for the most part, just hug the walls and you'll make it. Like, the only tricky bit is the bit you have to navigate around, but that's not too tricky to solve once you take a few attempts at it.
So these next couple items could be pretty telling as far as what they would have needed to get up to Death Mountain. Because like I said, this is technically a sequence break, not having the flute or the hookshot. Or sorry, the lamp. So if you do find one of those up here, then you know that the other one is going to be somewhere in the locations that they've skipped. And Andy taking down very low with that one heart. And maybe
Nice.
wish that he had those two other hearts now.
Yeah, I don't know. Those
Sorry.
the upper floor rooms of Teamstone are actually pretty nasty if you're not particularly well equipped. And nothing up that mountain from what we can access so far. You just remember that you can do Spike Cave now.
Yeah, and he does have a green potion as well, I believe, so he could definitely use that to refill with how fast the magic cape does deplete it.
Yeah, did a quick check of those particular 4 bushes there because they have a higher chance than usual of dropping hearts and fairies. No luck there.
Make sure he does. Okay, good. Yeah, then make sure you do that before back to 1 heart because he does have to take that additional heart to. Oh. Oh no.
Oh no.
Wait, he
That's
tried to
really
pick it up
unfortunate.
before.
Yeah. And one thing you can actually do in that situation is behind the torches around spread around Spike Cave are actually safe spots. So if you hug the back end of one of those torches and just stand there, you don't take any spike damage. That's the best way to use green potion to refill your magic cape or whatever.
Actually, did not know that. That's actually really interesting. Keep that in mind for next time. Alright, Hugh heading over to Desert Palace, gonna find out about it also being boots locked. But after this, what do we really have left? Just a bumper cave? I guess the
Yeah, we have
blacksmith.
Bumper Cave, blacksmith, purple chest, technically, and whatever is in Spike Cave. I believe that's about covers it, yeah.
Spike Cave technically isn't supposed to be available to them just yet, but that is still a location that can have something. But yeah, hopefully, not checking. Oh, here we go. Andy's gonna head over to that bumper cave. Hopefully, whatever was here does not kind of burn Hugh a bit.
Yeah, but this could very easily be the lamp or something similar. Oh, it could just be a bomb capacity upgrade. That's interesting.
That's looking. We're looking for.
Yeah, it's looking very likely that we have to do these smiths right now without any without the mirror. And looking at the items they have, I expect the next major progression item we'll be finding is the flute, actually, because that'll unlock more than the lamp.
Yeah, that's very true.
There's also the option of having our runners have to dive into Palace of Darkness, even though they don't have the bow yet.
Alright, so both runners just heading through these dungeons we've both already seen. Quickly, Hugh's already found out that it is boots locked, so he's not going to be able to go any further. And then Andy also not going to find anything of importance in Skull Woods just yet, so all of our dungeons just not really having anything with the exception of Eastern Palace, which really just had the Power Glove and that's it.
Yeah, so far all progression has been found in the overworld. Well, unless you want to count Hyrule Castle as a dungeon, but most people don't.
So Hugh, knowing that now there's nothing else he can do in Desert Palace, so we'll see if he decides to go over to that eastern part of the Dark World, check out the pyramid, go over to Pod. It's the next big location to go to.
Of course, there's also the temptation of the mushroom with possibly fake powder. In fact, use magic's perfectly set up for that right now, it being empty. And of course, the actual item from the witch itself.
He is at 0 magic, so easily do that. Alright, so he's gonna knock out a few locations here. I don't think he checked 6 yet either yet, so it makes sense that
he's safe doing all these overworld chunks for later, which makes perfect sense with what he found in the Eastern Palace.
That's really where that smart routing comes, into play. You want to be able to put off these really just one-off checks as much as you can until you could chain a whole bunch of them together. I'm not surprised to see that, from Hugh, because those kind of small routing decisions do really add up, in time, and definitely for someone that is 3-0 in the tournament would expect that. But it doesn't look like he's gonna do the powder, but rather go back in the Dark World.
Yeah, it's probably going to check the bumper cave now. Going to be disappointed, sadly, because, well, there's just bomb capacity up there, but he has no idea to know that until he actually goes up there.
Both runners kind of on even ground right now, and Andy a little bit further ahead with at least going to locations that could possibly have something. Hugh just behind him with, looks like he's gonna go over to the hammer pegs and get his blacksmith.
It looks like Andy is definitely interested in doing the fake powder, considering he's trying to drain his magic right now. Not certain why he's doing that with the Cane of Samaria and not the cape, considering the cape would be a bit quicker here, but I guess this was the first thing that came to mind for him.
Yeah. Interesting to see what this has, because that's also a lot of sequence breaking going on in this seed. You don't want to go too deep into it because you can begin to lose track of what the seed intends you to do. But Hugh actually saving and quitting. And is he going over?
I think he's just handing in the mushroom for the item.
Oh, mushroom, yeah. There is that powder glitch, and he's showing us off.
Oh my!
Wow! Wow, that is indeed an item.
That is a major difference maker here, because the mirror is one of the items we were definitely looking for, and will open up most of that mountain for us in one fell swoop.
So that really begs the question: is where is the powder at? Because it has to be pretty early on if such an important item is right there.
No, that's not in its vanilla location, I can tell you that much.
Yeah, I was waiting for it to show up right there. Wow, that's really big.
And
Andy could have had.
Hugh is actually reminding me of another location we haven't checked yet, and that's the catfish. Of course, he can't reach it from this, from the light world here, but it is in this same area in the dark world. That is really unfortunate.
Yeah. I mean, that's just kind of, smart routing, and regardless of it being a location not in logic, if you can go ahead and, do it, go ahead and finish it off. But yeah, Andy gonna take immediate advantage of that mirror to head up to Hera. Don't know yet if that's going to be fire locked, since we haven't found any kind of fire source yet. But he can at least get to the entirety of Death Mountain, with the exception of Hookshot Cave.
Yeah, you can check most of the place, and there's a lot of items up here.
So I'm actually interested in seeing what's on this tablet, because we still have that potential of pedestal being required.
Yeah, if this is...
there is a required item.
Yeah. There's also the other option. That is, if this is another sword, then... Well, you'd better hope that the other sword out there is somewhere you can easily reach, because it's going to get real tight on the swords at that point, because you do need a master sword to be able to beat Ganon. And there's the powder! Wow, that's fascinating.
So, we're looking at our pendant dungeons. Turtle Rock, Ice Palace, and Pod. None of them technically require the mirror to get into, so...
It also means that the hookshot has to be somewhere else than this area Andy is in right now, because the hookshot is technically supposed to be required to reach the mirror at this point due to where the powder is.
This is definitely a very interesting seed. And these are the ones I really enjoy seeing too, because then you get to see these kind of logical decisions that most seeds don't generally force you to do. He's gonna head over to his east side of the Dark World, while Andy continues to go through all this to see what else he can find on Death Mountain.
Yep, we're going to get a look at what the Turtle Rock Medallion is going to be. It's bombers. It's also interesting to note, and do forgive me if I'm wrong, but did Andy just go into this dark side of Dead Mountain without checking the light side first and without having the mirror?
He has a mirror.
Wait, oh right, he does have. I'm a bloody idiot. I was so distracted by him not supposed to having the mirror that I completely forgot that he does actually have the mirror. That's how he got here in the first place. Ooh, we find the fire rod at Catfish though. That's fascinating, because that's a really out of the way location.
So maybe Andy's trying to find, the boots at least to, be able to check that first chest in the Hookshot Cave, because we already know that the Hookshot's not going to be up here in any kind of capacity. You heading over, hopefully, to the bats, but maybe going to, he's gonna head over to Skull Woods, having that fire rod now.
And there's still
a smart decision.
And there's definitely still an item waiting out there in Skull Woods, so you never know. That could be the flute or the lamp that's supposed to lead us up the Death Mountain in the first place. What could be the hookshot, which would be a pretty good find for you, though he'd need to find a second sword somewhere to get that powder and get the mirror.
So kind of an important tip for any rando runners playing this. Definitely don't want to write off, learning that powder glitch, because it's paying off pretty big right now for Andy. I have to wonder though, when would Andy actually go over to Catfish?
I have to say that with what he has access to right now, it all depends really on what the item we find locked behind the fire rod here is. Because if it's the shot or flippers or something, it could be something relatively early. If Andy finds one of those items soon and gets access to a lot more of the seed, now I could get right away.
Alright, Hugh, just about to go into his moth of the fight in just a minute. trying to save as much magic as he can. Don't blame
Yeah.
him for just having the sword. And well, it does have the hammer though.
Yeah, still, you'd rather get as much damage in with the fire on while you can, rather than having to use the hammer immediately, because hammering modular is annoying, to say the least.
True. And he kind of probably, yeah, he's heading up the pyramid way, so possibly we could see him do both pyramid, mushroom, and catfish at the same time, which would put him in a really great position. But alternatively, he does have the pod, or Palace of Darkness available that you can do after checking the pyramid. Be a little careful. It does have that potion, but you don't want to forget to use it before you get hit by Mothula again. But there you go. Pretty easy fight with that hammer and the fire rod. And gets the
there's
lamp.
Lamp hiding. But that's the item we will probably first find to hit up that mountain. But the question still is, where's the hookshot hiding? Because is what we need to actually get up that mountain. Well, you definitely needs it anyway, because it's the only way he's gonna get the mirror is if he can get the powder off the Ether tablet.
Right, so definitely Hugh's best possible situation right now is finding a sword and probably Palace of Darkness, so that way, you know, when he inevitably heads up to Death Mountain, he's able to chain in that Ether tablet with all these other locations and find the powder. But that also means we have to find that hookshot, which we just don't know just yet.
It's definitely rather convoluted so far when it comes to the logic of this particular suit.
Andy deciding to pick up the heart from the witch assistant there. Don't know what made that heart a little bit more appealing than the other two that he skipped, but I'm sure that's a question we can ask him after the race. All right, so Hugh heading over to Palace of Darkness, pretty item-dense location, and one we haven't seen just yet.
Yeah,
Kind of given
pretty much has to have something good at this point.
And then Andy gonna pick up his fire rod and probably head over to Skullwoods as well before he hops into Palace of Darkness. Or not, he's gonna go over there.
He might just be opting to route through the... Oh no, wait, you can't route through the North of the Dark World through here. Yeah, no, he must be headed to the Palace of Darkness, if anything, if he's going to this route.
Yeah, I'm not sure, you know, which one is technically faster going, you know, all the way back down from Catfish or saving and quitting, but if anyone would know, it would be Andy. Right, Hugh going into that first chest, we determine whether or not it is bow locked, which I really don't think it will be.
No, well, unless this first chest is the hookshot. that was the key.
That would be very interesting if we found a hookshot right there and lead up to Hookshot Cave. Alright. It'll probably be a little bit of time before we actually find an item, just given how we just found the hookshot. Oh my god.
Yep, I was waiting for that one to appear at this point.
Well, I was just about to say about how there's a ton of keys in the front of Pod, but definitely the hookshot does lead to a lot. So definitely we'll see Hugh go up to Death Mountain, I imagine, right after this.
Yeah, I hope for him that he does find another sword in here so that he can just immediately get the powder and hopefully check the paths shortly after that.
It'll be kind of nice if you know, Hugh does find the sword here too, because he can also route in Hera at the same time, having the fire source that Andy did not when he went up there. Granted, he has the mirror, so you know, Andy can get up there pretty quick, but it's still convenient to be able to do that all in one go.
Yeah, Bond does seem very amenable to you going to the back of it, so there might be something else hiding here.
I see that. Oh no, I didn't know if he was going to do that potions glitch. I could have sworn he still had an additional green potion to burn.
I'm not certain if he does. I know he used it and then bought the blue potion to replace it, but I don't know if he picked up another one in the meantime.
That is true. But I'm gonna head over to the back.
And he does appear to be going for that particular trick though, and he does still have that green potion from before, which is probably why he didn't refill his magic earlier.
Alright, Hugh finding that big key. You'll probably see a big key, or the hammer jump, as well, to at least knock out that location if he does get run out of keys, I mean. 10 arrows, and then another small key.
Also
So he's gonna have
it's
a little bit
right
weird.
side of hard.
You know, I'm surprised he actually did not check the chest that was south of him and then bomb jump over to the big chest. That way he can get all those locations out of the way instead of having to worry about coming back in later and then going all the way to the back a second time.
So since I see some people wondering, the little trick Andy did there is basically caused by blocking the camera through just drinking a potion while walking left and then not going far enough left for the camera to properly lock. It's real bloody weird, but it makes doing this real easy. We just found the Eat medallion in Hard as our final item there.
Interesting. So we haven't seen Meyer area, just yet. We don't know if that could be the required medallion for there or not. But Hugh's gonna find out pretty soon that he needs that the powder's gonna be on the ether tablet. I wonder if that will possibly point him over to the bat as well instead of having to wait, to find a master sword and get that item. Alright, so I think
maybe he'll be lucky and the master sword will be hiding for him in the Tower of Error.
that is definitely a good location for him to find that. Then Andy gonna pick up his final 2 chests here, I believe. Nope, he still has the big chest. Or I guess the big chest that you open with the big key is more accurate. So what is Andy's next play after this? Well, the hook shot doesn't really give him much that he already had access to.
Yeah, I imagine he'll be going back to Dead Mountain, probably to clear Hera now. He's got a fire source, and then check Hookshot Cave, and that's about all he's got left, really.
So definitely something we could find in Hera, possibly, maybe like a medallion. We could see was it Bombos was required for Turtle Rock. That could be certainly on the table pretty soon.
We're also it's also rather likely that we'll find the Flipper sometime soon, considering that'll give us access to both Swamp Palace and Ice Palace, and Swamp Palace is required.
Yeah, so this is a very intriguing seed. Usually seeds try to front load you with a ton of items and just kind of open up the entire map in V29. This one's been a little bit more, we're going to give you like 1 or 2 items at a time and still keep the majority of the map locked. You're going to find that he does need a master sword to pick up the powder, so hopefully, that makes him think about the powder glitch later on when he returns to Kakariko. Right, here we get that Hera play, which we also have not seen, I believe, just yet. I think Andy actually skipped coming in here. And you get that small key, which could point to, that coffee break that everyone likes to see. Pistol is not technically dead just yet. The logic could make you clear, all the pendant dungeons to pick up the Master Sword, and then get the mirror from that as well.
It's definitely possible. It's rather unlikely, I'd say, but it's definitely a possibility still. Like, we'll have to see what happens there.
Very, 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 very low chance, even for our randomizer. But it would be intriguing to see that situation play out.
It's funny to note that even though we knew what was on the pedestal, about 10 minutes in, we're now almost an hour in, we're still not certain whether it will actually be required or not. That's something you don't see every day.
Alright, Andy about to head into his Huffy fight as the bunny pug. Oh, that's so cute though.
Yeah, it's super cute. I actually really like the pug sprite.
He's thinking about taking a death warp there, but... Oh wait, no, there he goes. He just goes to the Moldworm since they do a full heart damage. And you gotta be a little bit careful. I believe he doesn't have any potions, but I think he's okay.
He is playing it really carefully at this point, though. It's interesting to know that he's just opting to use the fighter swords. That I guess he just doesn't like the chances of hitting Mochla without getting hit back with the hammer.
It does pay off as he does clear out Mothula and get that lamp. So it's a little difficult to really see who's ahead. Mirror hasn't led to anything as of yet, and depending on if Hugh finds a sword or not in here, it could be pretty big.
We found one of the items so far here in Rivera, so there could still be a sword hiding up here. It looks like Andy's also going to find out that the sword is hiding on a pedestal.
Alright, so we have that final item gonna be on Moldorm. And Andy's gonna, head up to Hera as well to clear that out.
Makes perfect sense. You want to be doing crystal onions while you can.
Alright, Hugh entering his Moldorm fight has the hammer out ready to, kill him off pretty quick, but not really being very kind with his movement too much. We get that final hit, and shortly, if he gives him an opening, he just doesn't want to, though. There
we go.
Good job, Hugh. And just the arrows right there, so...
Yes,
I imagine...
Shot cave.
I wonder if he'll head into Spike Cave as well.
We
go with that.
Yeah, we do still have that open, and unlike earlier, it is actually fully in logic at this point, considering we do have the lamp to reach that mountain in the first place.
So I think in the entirety of all the dungeons we've gone into, the only items we've actually found are the hookshot and the power glove. So overworld definitely being pretty heavily weighted in this seed. And the nice part about having that mirror here, won't have to worry about that death warp, since you can just use that to get back to the front. So it's going to speed up his Hera clear.
Yeah, it's definitely going to save him a little bit of time.
Also, once he does finish, he doesn't have to look at all these locations that he was going to right now. So it's really hard to see who is technically ahead, depending on what Hugh's next plays are after Death Mountain.
I'd definitely say Andy has a bit of an advantage with having that mirror right now, but it all depends on how easily accessible it will be for you. If he finds a sword upgrade here, it is going to be annoying for him though. Like, he does know where the powder is, but is it going to be his first priority to climb that mountain a second time just to get the powder, to get to the bats? That's... I don't know.
Yeah,
Definitely see him doing something else instead, if there is even anything else he can really do at this point.
I'd probably assume that rather than climbing a second time, that he'll just go ahead and do that powder glitch, since there's really no benefit to climbing up for that if he knows how to do it.
Problem with
he turned into mushroom.
Turned into mushroom. Yeah, he needs to get the powder. Like, there's no two ways around it.
Oh, that's rough.
Well, Andy has basically no reason to come back for that powder unless he really wants the safety. And even then, he'd just pick it up before Ganon's tower in all likelihood.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be seeing that picked up, given what he's shown us with the Harkateeners so far.
And here we go, Shot Cave. Nope. Bottle. One more chest.
And wow!
So that's our Turtle Rock access, for which you would have to climb that mountain again to get into Turtle Rock. Oh my. Making good use of that mirror shield there, though.
So Andy gonna head over there. I wonder, he'll probably head into Turtle Rock as well, because like I said, that mirror shield can really be suggesting that something's gonna be on that laser bridge.
Rocks, why are you so annoying? But yeah, this is going to be where the mirror is actually going to be a major time save, because if our runners do need to go into T-Rock, Andy is just a mirror away, while you has to actually go back through the mountain, through the old man start, etc. a second time.
Yeah, that just that one decision to do the fake powder very early on, and you see just the effects of it now. Really helping Andy, do this a lot quicker than Hugh. Plus, you still don't know where there's another sword.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, Andy's gonna go for it. Got the Cane of Samaria, you got the Fire Rod, you got the mirror. Get into Turtle Rock. And he's thinking the same exact thing.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense too. There just isn't much else left in the world to even do except Turtle Rock right now. So, well. And just having that mirror here is really convenient for Andy. Because in the time it took him to check on Shot Cave and get over here, like, you was technically ahead before that point, but now our positions have swapped around.
Oh, item in the Mimic Cave would be absolutely miserable for you.
Yeah, that would be awful. I hope that doesn't happen. It's already going to be annoying enough for him to get the powder, to get to the powder, to get the mirror off the bat. So having to also go back to Mimic Cave at that point would just seal the deal.
Alright, so Turtle Rock definitely having the potential to have a lot of progression. More so than every other dungeon right now, because there's not much else we have left. We're looking for a flute, we're looking for flippers, bow, ice rod. Well, not really ice rod, I guess, but still a lot we need for go mode.
Mm-hmm.
And you gotta be careful though with being at 2 hearts for this part. Yeah, he's gonna play completely safe. Not
Yes,
even worrying
definitely.
about the hook shot.
It's very smart of him to not even try. Oh, there's the boots.
There's the boots. So does he
Means,
keep going?
yeah, like the boots by themselves probably don't unlock enough for it to be worth skipping out on the rest of T-Rock right now. And who knows, maybe you will decide to do differently, and it might be a difference maker here. But nah, it looks like he's also paying for the rest of T-Rock.
Chat pointing out, just what the boots unlocks for Andy specifically. So we'll see whether or not there are any situations that are preferable for him to hover besides just mold on 2, which is going to happen probably.
Yeah, at this point, considering they already found the hook shot, the offering for Andy is actually mostly just going to be vanity. I don't blame him for doing it. It's swag. It's something he can do. Why not? But it's not going to really make a difference in what our 2 runners can do in this particular seed.
Andy playing this dungeon very safe with those 2 hearts, as pretty much anything that touches him that does guarantee a death.
Yeah, like the only enemies in here that wouldn't just kill him in one hit are basically the anti-fairies. Anything else in here does 2 hearts of all damage in green mail.
Alright, so we're gonna see that Mimic Cave check very soon. That could be huge. That could pretty much determine whether or not Andy, takes this game already at, an hour and 6 minutes in.
Yeah, in that regard, I'm hoping it's a heart container. Also because Andy keeps skipping heart container, so it's funny if it's a heart container just for that reason.
Well, he skips the heart at least. A heart piece.
Well, close enough.
Yeah.
That's good. That's not something Major Hugh will be missing out on.
I wonder if he'll take maybe a death warp right here. No, just gonna continue in.
Yeah, it's looking very likely like we'll be seeing Laser Bridge coming into play, and I do think the fact that Bedford has found the Mirror Shield already is weighing in the minds on just going on through Total Rock and counting on there being something important there.
There's our Quake. We don't know just yet what is needed from Meyer since we're missing the flute.
But we're good for entering it regardless at this point, considering we have all 3 of them.
Pretty rare to find all 3 medallions before you do find the flute, so definitely don't have to kind of speculate on whether or not you're in go mode, if we were, depending on what medallion is required.
Who knows, we could be, if we're really close to go mode, we could find the bow and the flippers right here, and the flute.
Alright, so we're still looking for a sword for Hugh. Okay, well we get, one item that we knew was going to be here. Don't want to see the map. Don't want to see the compass.
Well, the next one is guaranteed to be some. Okay, well.
Wow!
I watch for the mirror shield hinting at anything. Unless there's something off of Trinex, because we do know Trinex will tonight, because we just found both the map and the compass.
What a huge bait. Giving them such an early mirror shield and then not even giving, like, just a unique item at all. on Laser Bridge.
Yeah, it
You know,
should be said. We did of course find Quake. The full laser bridge, but at least deeper into rock, so the Quake might matter. But there we go. There's the flute.
and there's our flute. So it's just the boots that we needed to get further in.
The real what still baffles me is that we're still at a point where we know the powder is needed to get the mirror, which Andy already has because he fake powdered, but where is that sword hiding to even get the powder in the first place, considering that's on the Ether tablet? It looks like Andy's finally getting in his lumberjack cave check.
Now Hugh gonna go ahead and open up, pull out that flute, and then probably head over to Desert Mire area as well.
It makes perfect sense to clear both those dungeons out right now. Because the flippers has to be hiding somewhere in that area. Possibly on the Pyramid Ferry at this point.
So even if right now we are looking for another sword upgrade to get the powder, we still need another sword for Ganon as well. But we should, I don't know, we still need to find... Oh wait, there could be swords in Ganon's Tower, so never mind, that doesn't matter. Well, there's our flippers.
So at this point, Andy just needs to, once Andy picks up those flippers, he just needs to both to be in go mode, while you still needs, well, and the sword, of course, to beat Ganon, but he's going to be at a spot where he can technically get to GT. Well, we know that GT is technically locked behind having the Master Sword on Yu's side due to the fact of, due to where the powder is and the powder leading to the mirror.
Interesting decision to go to Ice Palace right now, and you could go ahead and complete Desert as well as Mire.
Yeah, you didn't sequence break this area first, so he's doing the rest of the flippers checks right now, and then possibly going straight into Ice Palace, yeah. He might be feeling like he's behind due to everything going on, so it will be interesting to see if he does go into Ice Palace, considering that's a pendant.
Especially if he's thinking about them, missing out on the powder glitch too. I know if I was definitely facing Andy, then I would probably be thinking, oh crap, I could have done this. And for everyone asking, Mirror is currently not in Logic. Andy did do the powder glitch at the bat to get the mirror, which is locked behind the powder, which is on Ether Tablet, which we need another sword upgrade for, which is on pedestal as well. So if we don't find any other sword upgrades anywhere, then technically this was a ped required seed.
Yeah, and that would be well, I feel sorry I feel particularly sorry for you in that particular case, but I just feel sorry for any runners inflicted with this particular scenario, because this is just awful. That is just awful. I'm not gonna lie.
Alright, Andy gonna head into his Lamb Mold fight. Take pretty quick work of it, with that fire rod. I believe he... Actually, I don't know if he has an air potion.
I don't know. I think he used his only potion on the potion glitch over in Palace of Darkness, and the other bottle he has should have a B in it. So this is going to probably Hammerland now.
strat you generally see just because you can use a fire rod. Usually one cycle ammo, but just given the circumstance, it's the only possible way to do this kind of in a fast fashion on anything.
Yeah, it takes 4 hammer hits to kill one of these 4, one of the 3 lambos. So 12 hammer hits in total is what we're looking at, spread over all 3 enemies. There we go, it was pretty good, all things considered.
Hugh does not have the mushroom anymore. Obviously, we keep it on the tracker to mark that he picked it up, but it is not in his inventory itself. And he's just gonna head straight into Mire as well. So just clearing out those dungeons as fast as he can. And he will kind of be in the same position for a while as well, so he doesn't need the mirror just yet, technically, to finish these crystals, but once it's just Swamp Palace required, I can see that Ice Palace dive.
Yeah, a lot of things could be happening. In the meantime, if the bow isn't hiding out here in Misery Mire, we might be seeing that extra bomb capacity and those 24 bombs better runners have being made to come to use pretty well against Vitrius.
He will also often use those hammer strats.
Yeah, actually landing those hits with the hammer is, well, it's the hammer. The hammer's hitbox is really odd, and it's just hard to work with, so trying to land something on a moving target like the Lambos is trickier than it looks. Oh my, that's a super early Maya big key. Looks like Andy is just going straight for the boss with that. Hasn't even found any of the items yet in here, he's just going straight for it. Interesting.
He gonna... It's like, I don't think he skipped... No, he looked all those other items, so he's kind of gonna look for Vitrius to having that bow as well as... Or maybe just another sword, so that way he'd be in go mode. Oh, and Chad pointed out an interesting thing. We could see the rare Vitrius bomb strat.
Yep, that's going to be fun to look at. It's 23 bombs, and it's definitely the best weapon in Andy's arsenal for the first phase of Vitrius.
So I'd like to think that he didn't just leave the bee there so he can fill up the 2 bottles, but rather left the bee there in hopes that they would give him his mushroom back. I see the fighter sword strats. This is gonna be quite some time before any happens.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly how many spins it takes to kill even one of these eyes, but it's a lot of them, even with you hitting twice for each spin. Yep, there's the bombs.
Might as well. He had 23 going into this fight, so easily do that and then use hammer on Vitrius itself.
Yeah, this is definitely preferable over any other option.
A little scary though.
Yeah, definitely. Considering they're still in green mail, and at 6 hearts, Andy is basically 2 hits away from death here. Make them 1 hit away from death, now he's been hit.
And, for those of you wondering, we're definitely going to rib on Andy a little bit for skipping those 2 heart containers if he does die here. but he's making really quick work of his Vitreous. A little
He's playing it a
hard to
little
time it.
careful. Yeah, he's playing it a little bit carefully because he could be more aggressive on this, but one hit away from that, it's not worth being more aggressive. You just want to play it safe and get that kill out of the way, and there we go. And it's just for half. So we know the actual two items in Misery and Maya are hiding somewhere that isn't the boss. The question is, will Andy go back for that, or will he go for the newly unlocked Pyramid Ferry first?
Yeah, definitely go back in there. Probably took quite a little bit of willpower to go back in, given that every dungeon's just kind of been really empty with progression, especially after the laser bridge fiasco. I'd be thinking twice about committing a lot of time for chests that are kind of in the back of a dungeon.
Yeah, but on the other hand, you can't let things get like that get in your mind in Rando, because again, it's just the randomizer, it's just a computer program. It isn't malicious, even though it really makes you think it is sometimes.
Very true.
That's interesting.
Andy
Andy needs a key from somewhere. I guess there must be a key in the big chest.
Correct. So since he went straight to go mode, he used all his keys that you would
there
normally
we
use.
go. One of the items in Misery Maya was a sword. So we've got the Master Sword on Hugh's side now, so that is going to be key for him.
Definitely. I just really hope we don't see that Ice Palace dive before he goes up to Powder. I know I'm probably doing that.
Yeah, as some people in chat are pointing out, with that Master Sword having been found an hour and 10 minutes after we first saw there was a sword on the pedestal, we now know for absolutely certain that the pedestal is not required to see it. Hurrah. That took a while.
Yeah, that was definitely a hot topic, go into this race once we saw that, so I'm sure they're both thankful to not have to think about that. Well, at least Andy doesn't have to worry about that, but at least Hugh doesn't have to clear all the pendant dungeons to find that sword.
I also saw the other item here in Misery Maya being a piece of heart locked in the vanilla big key chest here, so, I hope you're looking for I hope you're looking forward to a very long cutscene for a quarter of a heart. Anyway, for Andy, the next location to go to after this is rather obvious. He's probably going to go straight into Swamp Palace, but it's going to be interesting to see whether Yu wants to go back for his powder to check the bats to get the mirror, or if he's going to dive into Ice Palace instead. I'd personally, in his shoes, be more inclined to go for Ice Palace just because there's more stuff there, but we also know that at least when it comes to the mirror, the right answer is in fact going all the way up to the Ether Tablet to get the powder, to get the bats, to get to the bats, to get the mirror.
Yeah, that's a very long, chain of logic that I would definitely be looking to do, a dungeon with 3 items first before that. So he going into his Vitreous fight. Well, I'll have unfortunately, the Master Sword for this will make it a lot easier to deal with.
Yeah, he's actually making good use of one of the weirder properties of the cape. Like, it's relatively well known at this point that if you grab a wall while using the cape, it doesn't drain magic. But when you're swinging your sword like crazy, it also doesn't drain magic nearly as quickly. So it's really easy to just mash your way through this first part of the Vitreous fight.
100%. Then yeah, Andy's gonna head over to Swamp, still looking for that boat for go mode, which could be here, could be in Ice Palace, would be a benefit to Hugh if he does go there.
Definitely.
Alright, we are gonna get that Bombos check, which we did not see just yet. Well, there's one part of the bow and arrow that we do need.
Yeah, sadly it's the wrong
Fortunately,
part.
Alright, yeah, you gonna go up to the Fat Fairy check. Or, yeah, he's like, wait, I need to go right or do I need to go left here?
Yeah, this does make perfect sense in issues. Who knows, he might be lucky and find the bow here.
Alright, so Andy heading into his 6th dungeon. Not yet in go mode. Like I said, we do need that bow to finish off Eastern Palace, and then we'll be heading up to against Tower. Meanwhile, Hugh, unfortunately, kind of getting locked behind this mirror, not doing the powder glitch, which has the bats holding the mirror, and needing a sword to check the ether tablet, which has the powder. So kind of in a really rough spot, but
He does
we find the
find that
bow.
bow, so there we go. He is just that mirror away. It is indeed the least likely location to check for him.
And I would expect Andy to probably go ahead and go straight up to Pyramid after Swamp as well. Just given that he's already in the area, so things are looking really good for Andy right now.
And yeah, as I expected, he was just going to clean up Eastern Palace right now, because why wouldn't he? Stuff just got to go. It'll be interesting. It will definitely be interesting to see where he goes next. Like, the race is basically hinging on him going to get the powder off of the ether tablets, to get the mirror off the magic bat as soon as possible. Because Andy is almost certainly going to check quite a bit of Swamp. Not certain if he'll go for the full clear or not, but he's definitely going to spend more time here than you will be once he is in this particular position.
Now, it'd be nice if Hugh does opt to go up to the Ether Tablet and then be able to go mode Swamp. Since, actually, I don't know, Andy may just decide to leave. One item needed from go mode is generally the reason to skip left side of Swamp.
Definitely. Ooh,
Very nice Silver's pickup.
That's good. Also, it's also something that could be making a difference, because you might be less inclined to check the chest in Swamp, because he will definitely be in go mode by the time he gets access to this place. It's in blue mail.
Yeah, that would be very kind of a scary thought. Andy tends to find those silvers, quite easily when, other people are in go mode, just opting to maybe check one or two, more chests that are just a little bit out of the way, but still convenient to go to. So paying off here for him, even though he would be checking those normally. But yeah, it's a question of whether or not Hugh does get over there afterwards.
Oh my, Andy is actually trying to do the hook dash strats with the Master Sword. This is a really cool but really tricky to execute strategy on Argus. It is really quick if you pull it off correctly though, but it's super difficult to do.
Alright, just clear him out. We'll have to use the Fire Rod, which would be pretty easy to hopefully 2-cycle him here. There we go. Alright, now it is up to Hugh, and he does head over to Ice Palace, unfortunately. So, this really is looking like Andy's game, unfortunately, with that powder glitch paying off so big that Hugh doesn't know that the meter is there.
And yep, Andy is heading straight up to the bomb shop, so he'll be in go mode very shortly. At that point, he just has to quickly hop back into Eastern Palace and clear that, and then he's off to Ganon's Tower. Didn't really get to go mode any of the dungeons, but in this case, the siege just wasn't really set up for allowing you to do that in the first place.
Let's get that nice little damage boost. Normally you can't obviously dash with the bomb, but if you do take damage and dash immediately afterwards, you can actually, and then he shows another application of that using the hook shot. You can go ahead and get through with the bomb and not just walk everywhere.
It's really nice. It's much better than having to slowly walk that way everywhere. Walk that thing everywhere, I mean. There we go. At 1 hour, 30 minutes and 44 seconds, Andy has entered go mode. We'll just have to clear Eastern Palace and then he's off to Ganon's Tower.
Well, I'm sure most people are already aware, but we do have, a little bit of a game that we do with the Ganon's Tower Big Key. Just kind of give you a heads up for it if you do want to participate and be added to the leaderboard for it. Now, you do need to be a subscriber of one of the Speed Gaming channels or have donated at least 250 bits to one of them. So that is something you're interested in. We have a little bit of time.
We will not be starting the game until after Andy collects his 7th crystal.
Right. Yeah, don't start guessing yet. That was just like a heads up for those that may be interested in being part of it. Hold on, boys. Meanwhile, Andy, it was in the dark world there, and it's like, wait, I don't need to do pod. I can just go ahead and clear Eastern by itself and does mirror the right side.
That's just habit getting in the way of you there, because usually when you find the bonus late, it's like, okay, now I need to just clear Eastern Palace and Palace of Darkness, so just go into the Dark World and go into Port first, and then wait a minute. You don't have to bother with Palace of Darkness, it's just a penance. Just quickly going through Eastern Palace, making much use of the boots, which you normally can't do in the vanilla game. So it's actually kind of interesting. It's interesting how well suited this dungeon is to going through quickly with the boots, all things considered, considering you can never have them normally. But
plus
in
silvers.
General, plus silvers indeed. In general, the Link to the Past is remarkably well designed around you having items you're not supposed to have. Which is part of what makes this particular randomizer quite fun to play.
Alright, now we can
go. Yeah, crystal number 7. There you go, people. You can start guessing your numbers now.
There you go. Everyone always beating me on my 8 guess, no matter, even if I'm the commentator and I know when it's going to start. But, yeah, go ahead and throw out your guesses, for that Ganon Tower Big Key. We'll close it off once Sandy does enter Ganon's Tower, and then I'll see just how fun Ganon's Tower is going to be for our runners. Is it going to be that favorable one? Oh no!
Yeah, that was the ice rod right there. Like, you knows at least that he doesn't have to get the pedestal, and it looks like he just got all the items from Ice Palace, and he's like, nope, I'm not cutting water with the rest of this place, which is at least a good decision on his part. Where is he after now? The Mountain Cave is a good sign. On the other hand, it might just mean that he's going to clear Total Rock right now, considering he just got the ice rod.
And he has switched. Oh, he has to switch the hookshot no matter what to get to the ether tablet. But
Yeah, I hope he's going to at least grab the powder first before going into T-Rock.
I would hope so. That's a very huge commitment to go all the way to Trinex just for Bow. Or sorry, not Bow.
Just for a
For a
single
possible
item. There we go. Cannon's Tower is opening. I haven't mentioned it yet, but I'm personally going with, since I've mentioned Vanilla so much this particular season, I'm going to guess the Vanilla. Cannon's Tower Big Key is actually in its Vanilla location. So that would be behind Ice Armors.
Right, so 1 and 2.
Looks like Andy, even with finding a key, is opting to just go with check those first two chests and then clear the left side of the dungeon. And you did, in fact, just go into T-Rock without checking the ether tablet first.
Oh, no.
That's
definitely Andy's game.
Incredibly unfortunate. I don't blame you one bit for not wanting to count on that one fetch quest item. It's just that in this particular case, that one fetch quest item is important.
We got 4 through 7 gonna show up in the Salvo's room. Alright, 7 all done. We're moving up to 8 very shortly. Just the red rupee, so my guess is dead. Meanwhile, Hugh able to quickly go over to Trinex, but unfortunately, he's going to be a little disappointed to know that there's nothing there.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious what the item that he is going to find on Trinex is, though we know it can't be anything particularly important. Might be something like the Cane of Burner.
Right, even, the game does, the logic does make it so you can pick up every item in the game. There's 9, by the way. But, unfortunately, some of these breadcrumbs could just lead to items that aren't necessarily needed to beat the game, but rather just to complete your item collection. So we're up to 10 through 13 here in the randomizer room. 10 is a red potion, 11's a piece of heart, 12 is a red tunic, which is nice. 13 is just a few more bombs, so despite not having the big key in there, still a nice amount of items. Alright, Hugh heading into his Trinex fight. It has to be a little bit careful. It does have to use hammer shots here, not having Temper Sword to quickly get through these phases. It does have a blue potion just in case he runs out of magic, though.
Does a really good job so far, though. Even managed to get the ice head stunned before it could put down its very inconvenient ice. And I do believe Andy just found the big key in Bob's chest.
That was a 14, I believe, right?
I do believe so, yes.
Big key 14. So with that, closest guess from a sub or a bit supporter was Tosh with 13. So congrats on being very close to that. Only one off. And both got the save off right away. But just 3 bombs off Trinex. This is really unfortunate for Hugh.
Yeah, because I wonder what his next step is actually going to be at this point. Because there isn't that much left that isn't eat tablets at this particular point. I think he might not have done the purple chest yet, considering how inconvenient that is without the mirror.
Right, and look, he does that save and quit, and he's going to be heading up to get their tablet, fortunately. So, if this was like any other race, I'd be thinking, maybe my opponent kind of fell for the same thing, but knowing, oh, he's actually fluting away. Oh no. I knew if I was facing Andy, and then I would be expecting him to do these glitches to put him ahead as well.
I'd also be incredibly worried at this point, considering we're 1 hour and 40 minutes in, and there hasn't Andy hadn't finished yet. So if you're a huge, you're wondering, you might actually be mentally playing yourself at this point and thinking, okay, this mirror has to be in some absolutely awful location, like the purple chest. So I'm going to do the spits right now. And I'm going to do the purple chest because that surely has to have the mirror. That's like the only reason Andy hasn't finished yet, right?
Right.
No.
Well, unfortunately, Andy will probably be done in the next 10 minutes, at the very most. Even
Still
though he
wondering.
does have so much bird.
I'm still wondering where the final sword is hiding there, considering, well, we know one of the swords is on the pedestal, but there has to be a fourth sword hiding out there somewhere.
It's true. We still had a few chests left in Ganon's tower. I'm on the right side, but I would think that maybe there's something here. Considering we've already went through Ice Palace and we know that there's no items in there.
Andy is actually checking these chests in the hopes of finding a template sword, because it does make the Ganon fight dramatically quicker and easier. Because with the Master Sword, you are reliant on spin attacks to do damage to Ganon. Well, with the template sword, you can actually just swing your sword. That ends up saving a significant amount of time.
Does have one final chest, and this is definitely a chest that likes to hold a sword just to kind of keep you on edge until the very end. So whether or
Let's
not,
see.
oh, no hovering today from Andy. Probably, given it's a tournament and just a piece of heart. It would have been really great if that was actually just a heart container instead.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, probably not hovering given just the how important these matches are. You don't know where your opponent's at. You don't want to take any chances on messing up that hover, and especially if you're looking for a temper sword. You just want to go ahead and kill Moldorm and check that item too. Meanwhile, we get the purple chest and just that piece of heart.
Mm-hmm. What else? I think he now you does in fact have to go for the powder. It's pretty much all he has left to do in the world. His only other option would be clearing Panels of Darkness and getting the green pendant and handing that into Sajrala at this point, but well, he's making the right decision here, at the very least. It's a little bit late, unfortunately, considering what's happening on the left screen, but at least he is getting the powder and is hopefully getting the mirror.
And 1 hour and 43 minutes.
Yeah, I can't imagine him not going to the bat right now, considering what he's going for.
Yeah, I just have to wonder if we'll actually see Andy finish Ganon before he gets to the bat. It'll be pretty close.
I think we'll be seeing the mirror at right around the same time, because Master Sword Ganon is pretty slow. It might depend a bit on how cooperative Ganon is going to be with the teleport.
Fortunately, Andy does have the red mail.
Yeah, this is it's those 3 hearts he has right now is all he has for this fight, so he better be a little careful. He can take 2 hits from these bats.
gotta be a little careful here. No, he's
Yeah,
definitely good
just-
at dodging his bats, but still, can be tricky.
He's gonna play it incredibly safe at this point, because as far as he's concerned, in all likelihood, he's thinking his opponent is right there fighting Ganon too, so if he takes that now, that could just be the race lost.
You throwing out those little rage slashes at the mirror. 1 hour and 44 minutes in, and you're barely finding the mirror. That's really rough to have to go through. But yeah, Andy forgetting he does have a red potion that he found in Ganon's tower, or maybe he's just doing it because he is confident enough in his Ganon fight. Oh yeah, there we go. 2 and 3.
Triple. There you go. That's Ganon down. Just need to wait if he falls into the pit there or not, but he's far enough south that the door should actually open.
And with that, we do have our winner as Allegiance Andy, finishing with an SRTV time of 1 hour, 45 minutes, and 36 seconds. Off a pretty brutal seed logically, too.
Yeah, definitely. Because, man, that was certainly something to see.
So congrats,
Anyway,
Andy.
Yu is just making his way into Swamp Palace, and I'm going to try and see if Andy is interested in coming in for an interview.
Yeah, I'm sure he does have some thoughts on that fake powder, and yeah, he's got to be feeling good about being able to go into the next week with that 4-0 win record.
Hmm.
All right, we do have Andy in the channel, so let's go ahead and bring him up and see what he has to say about this.
Yeah.
Really shitty pedestals. Oh, hello.
Hello.
Hello, congrats.
Buddy. But congratulations on winning.
Thanks. What a
What
bad
a
seed.
seed. Yeah. Anyway, can you
So-
guess what made a really big difference in your race here?
If I had to pick one thing, it'd probably be the mirror.
Yeah. Your
In
opponent,
fact,
your opponent, you handed in the mushroom without doing the fake powder thing, so he had to get the mirror the hard way with the powder off the ether tablet.
which he just got 3 minutes ago.
Dang, that is rough.
That is really rough, yeah.
Once I found out that there was a sword on pedestal, 'cause I knew where powder was, I was like, man, this could just be like the worst pedestal seed ever known.
Yeah, we were definitely wondering about that for a while. Like you actually checked the pedestal incredibly early because you found the book in Escape or something. I don't even remember. And well, it took 1 hour and 10 minutes after that before we found another sword. So we were wondering here all that time on whether this was in fact the worst pedestal seed possibly ever conceived.
But unfortunately, Sword and Mire killed the pedestal dream, but it was still a crazy seed. It was super linear. The only bad part really was the mirror. Everything else just kind of fell into place.
Yeah. That's also bad. That total rock bait was pretty real with its super early mirror shield leading into absolutely nothing.
Well, Sword Rock gave me the boots, which gave me the
but
flute.
Yeah, but that was really early in there. Like, going deeper into T-Rock was basically a waste of time, but nobody was going to risk that.
Yeah. I was really
That's
hoping
not
for,
a
like, Bo to be in Mimic Cave or something like that. I think at that point I was just missing Bow and Sword, maybe? Or no, I was still missing Flute too. I was hoping for something to be in Mimic Cave, because then it would have just been terrible.
Yeah, it would have been horrid for you in particular, because he also went into he actually went into T-Rock around the same time you did, just minus the mirror, and well, just imagine if something had been in there.
We still don't know where the other two swords are at, most likely on the right side of Ganon's tower, since Hugh did go ahead and dip into Ice Palace. So you're kind of destined to do this, fire sword for most of the seed, unfortunately.
My Vitreous fight was pretty fun.
Yeah, don't look like really fun Vitreous fights actually do with all the bombing and such.
I thought I was gonna die. I went to go like take damage from the slime and do another spin attack when I had like, I don't know, 5 hearts maybe, and then the eyeball just snuck up on me, and I was like, well, this is where it ends.
Yeah, but you've managed it just barely. Speaking of being nearly dead, how about that Ganon fight?
Ganon's fine.
Yeah, you did actually have a red potion in your inventory, and that you picked up in Ganon's tower. You
Yeah.
felt confident enough that you didn't need it.
Yeah, if I had seen like a bat coming straight for me, I probably would have menued and used it before I got hit, but phase 3 and phase 4 not worrisome.
Well, we know you're definitely confident about this seed, especially with skipping the 2 heart containers early on.
Yeah, I didn't mean to skip the first one, but I don't even remember where the second one I skipped was.
Is the shovel. In the
Oh
row.
yeah, that one. Yeah.
You didn't want the one from the witch, though.
Yeah, I don't even know why. At that point, I like went in hoping that mushroom was a key item, so I just like went in blindly, assuming I was gonna have to pick it up, and then yeah, that was it.
So fortunately, in Hugh's case, Mirror didn't really lead to too much other than just the swamp clear. So he's just about to enter his Ganon fight, or his Ganon's tower to ascend. But definitely, just that one decision to do the fake powder really paid off huge in the end. Other than that, you're going to be going into next week as 4-0. Definitely is probably one of the fan favorites of the tournament. Is there anything in particular you're going to be doing to prepare for next week, or just general playing better?
The last couple days I've been playing really badly, so I'm glad I played well today for the most part. But I don't know how to prepare for Randomizer. Especially without knowing my opponent beforehand, there's not really anything I can do to prepare besides just play and stay fresh.
Hugh gonna head into his left side, skipping the right side as well, despite finding that small key. Maybe gonna do that. Check the 4 chests in the southwest room before heading back over to the right side, and maybe we'll find out whether or not there are any swords in here. Well, in the meantime, congrats again on your win, Andy. You're more than welcome to stay with us till the end, which should be pretty soon, probably the next 10 minutes or so. But that's got to be pretty good feeling to be going into the next part of the tournament as 4-0. I only need one more win to guarantee that bracket entry.
Yeah, it's a pretty good feeling. You never know what's gonna happen in Swiss.
Yeah, you never know if you get that nightmare opponent that you've never wanted to face, or whether you are that nightmare opponent nobody ever wants to face.
Needed more ladder in Andy's case. I know if I get matched up with you next week, I'm going to be pretty nervous.
Yeah, I'm gonna head out because I have to do things this afternoon before plans this evening.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, and thank you for joining the tournament, Andy.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. You have a good rest of your day, and congrats again.
Thanks, dude.
Anyway, looks like you will be making a very similar round through Ganon's tower. We'll be finding his picky and not that much else of interest very soon. We'll be making his way to Ganon himself very shortly.
Yeah, he'll be making. Well, I'll see if he actually ends up dropping down to Armos Knights. If he's seen Andy already finish, maybe he would take that extra time to see if maybe there's a tempered sword on the bottom where the vanilla big key is at. Just to kind of make the rest of this run a little bit simpler at the cost of taking like a minute or so to clear that out. But yeah, he's just going to mirror out and go right to the start. We don't know if he's won yet. You can see if that Andy has finished, should he have the race window up. But a lot of runners generally opt to close the window or just at least minimize it at some point, just so that way, they're just playing as strong as they can without thinking if someone's finished or not, or knowing if someone's finished or not.
Yeah, there's nothing as distracting in a race as constantly looking over to your SLTV window and being like, did he finish? Did he finish? Did he finish? So it's often better to shut it down to get rid of at least some of the nerves.
Alright, Hugh heading into his gauntlet fight. Should be pretty simple with the silvers that he has. Probably going to hold on to the magic as much as he can. Or never mind, he does have a blue potion, so just going to go ahead and burn that potion on these Stalfos instead of trying to run around and kill him.
You can actually also use the silver arrows quite well, but it's a lot easier to just get the hits in with the incredibly much faster projectile that shoots from the fire rod.
Does get that dash through. You know what? What is the name? What are the names of these enemies? I cannot seem to ever remember them.
The lizard guys, or whatever they are.
Those lizard foes? No.
No, they're not lizard foes. There's an enemy in Zelda 2 that also is named that has the same name, but
let's take a look. These are the Zazak, if that's how you pronounce it. But
I've
anyways,
heard them referred.
It's such a weird name, but what I was saying is that Imhughbliss did get that that nice dash to that room, but unfortunately, just having the Master Sword does not kill him in one hit like the Temper does. So I had to go through a little bit extra work, but nice using the silvers on the Lambos too to get a pretty clean fight there.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, nice, this big magic refill right there. Especially going to the next room, don't have to worry about using the lamp. Can just keep the fire rod out the whole time. Depends if he does that or not. Oh, next thing, fire up shots.
Yeah, makes sense. He's got plenty of magic. There's magic in pots. I think he's got plenty right now to just finish lighting the final torches.
Yeah, he should have just enough. Yeah, there it is. I think you just pick up the refill in the next room too.
Yeah, that's expected. He's checking these final chests, hoping for a tempered sword, but this is sadly not going to appear. I'm probably finding enough pieces of heart to get a full refill there.
Alright, Hugh gonna go into his Moldorm 2 fight. Pretty clean, a lot better than the other one so far with just how the Moldorm moved. I'm gonna be sorely disappointed to find that he has to do Master Sword Ganon. Oh, he's gonna go ahead and... Oh, I can't tell, what is he doing? Throwing out a little BM at the final chest. Yeah, I think at this point he does know that Andy has finished. He would never do that otherwise, so
Yeah.
maybe we'll get to see some bug net strats here. Like the little slashes in accordance with the music too. It's a nice touch.
Mm-hmm. Might as well have fun with it if you know you've lost anyway, but still want to finish. But I do respect finishing a seed regardless.
Definitely for a seed like this as well, where, you know, if you see that 145 finish, you're assuming probably you did the fake powder glitch. But even that, I mean, it's good to finish because it's still good practice. You'll be going in 3-1 to the next week, which is still a great place to be at. Means you only have to win 2 of your next 3 matches in order to still get into the bracket, and then plus your opponents will probably be a little bit, I guess, more easier without like disrespecting them too much because they've already taken 1 loss as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's still going to be a fierce competition even in the 3-1 bracket next week.
Alright, so Ganon fight starting, gets 4 slashes already. Like, he's gonna go up in that corner. Hopefully he gets there too.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning that it takes 12 spins to progress Ganon 1 phase in this fight, so you can get those double hits in when Ganon is next to a wall, so that's helpful, but it's still a lot of effort and this is pretty difficult.
Fortunately, they did find that red tunic in the, well, I guess blue tunic too, on the way, you know, to Ganon's tower or just to this fight, because it makes this a whole lot less stressful.
It's also a really good idea here to make use of that cave, because it's allowed him to get in a whole bunch of extra damage, and he does have 2 blue potions still, I believe. Because that speeds up doing that phase dramatically, like that was a 2-cycle compared to Andy.
Unfortunately, he does have blue potions still to fill up his magic for, you know, if you decide to fill up the torches. And then silvers will make pretty clean work of that final phase again. Finish.
That's hit number 1. Nice torch glitch, nice torch glitch with the fire rod 2. Arrow number 2. Arrow number 3. 1 more relighting and 1 more spin into a silver arrow to the face to Ganon, and we've got our victory. It's also rather unfortunate for, in this particular case, the next race is already being set up, so I don't think we'll have time to do an interview with you, sadly. Because, well, we do have a schedule to adhere to.
But it's good for you guys, because you don't have to go anywhere, because you'll have another race coming up very fast. Let's see what that race is actually going to be. It's going to be Freddy versus
Ginger Damas. So, with that, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in and watching this very interesting seed. And I wouldn't let the time disparity in this particular case fool you about the ability of either of our runners, because you put up a hell of a race here. He just made the decision to not do the fake powder glitch, and that ended up making all the difference.
Yeah, it's always rough when, that one decision early on just kind of set the tone for the entire race, but still, regardless of that, put on a really great show for us. And plus, he's only going to be 3-1 as well, which is still a great place to be at. So his bracket dreams are still very much alive, and I would expect to see him in the bracket with the amount of skill he's shown off today.
Mhm.
So with that, like I said, we do have a race starting immediately after this. Ginger Damas versus Friday. I don't know what the win record for that is, but I'm sure we'll find out soon. But
Yeah. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed watching, and just as a quick shout out, make certain to give our runners Andy and Imhughbliss a follow. They're great. They're both great races.
definitely want to thank Jake Hart for doing the tracking on this as well. And it was a real pleasure being able to comms this race with you, dude.
And I definitely agree with that too, JTP. And with that, I'm signing off.
All right, you all have a good rest of your day and enjoy the rest of the rando going on.